Hey everybody. So I want to start by sharing a story. You may have heard this story before, and you may have heard me say this story. I heard this story from, I was watching Steve Harvey, and it sort of blew my mind. I had this aha moment. So what it is, it's a story that he heard from a friend of his named Butch Lewis, and who was a fight promoter. So it's called Man on a Rope, right? So I'm just going to read it really quick. So we are all, our journey is compared to like pulling up a wagon up a steep hill, right? That's pretty much how we feel, right? And this wagon does not have rubber wheels on it. It's like old, settlers wagon, right? It's wood, it's rickety, the rope is super thick and just rough, and we are pulling this over our shoulders, pulling it uphill, right? There's no horse in front of it, so just think like that's where we're at, right? Um it's cutting into your hands. You are the only one who is allowed to pull this, right? Which makes your journey, of course, more challenging because it's all the weight you are carrying. Now, you have people riding in your wagon. So it's not just this light, empty wagon, right? You are carrying them. The only people who can get on the wagon are people who you allow. So you have to be smart in choosing wisely on who rides in your wagon. But you need to choose people who are going to assist you along the way up that hill, right? You don't want a cart full of dead weight, or as I like to call them, like freeloaders, because no one else can pull that wagon. But you are able to have people aid you in that climb, right? They can't pull it for you, but maybe they could have one leg outside that wagon and help you along and push with their foot. Or if there are rocks in the way, they're moving those rocks out of the way. Maybe you've got somebody who's not able to actually help push or pull you, but maybe you've got someone whose job is to bring you and cook you food so that you can keep going along in that journey. Think of it, like how a relationship, a marriage, a man and a woman, or just, two people in a relationship. You've got one who is going to maybe be the one that's helping to motivate and inspire, and make sure that the other is still going steady in that journey, in that goal, and reaching it. So, your partner can whisper encouraging words, they can motivate you, but they can't pull that rope for you. That is yours and yours alone. So the people in your wagon are supposed to play very specific roles in order to contribute to your success, right? Or else, what is the point in having them in your wagon if they're just going to be dead weight or, like I said, freeloaders? There has to be a person to count like your money. So you're gonna have an accountant, in your wagon to help you along the way, so maybe you don't go broke. Have someone to provide you counsel. Maybe again, like I said, maybe you have a doctor, make sure you don't get sick. Someone to help make sure that you get fed properly. All of those things you do need to have. But you also need to remind yourself that of the dead weight that you've been carrying and the people who are just along for the ride. That's going to be a hard decision that you're going to have to then let them go. Because who you have in your wagon that isn't helping you get up the hill, they're not going to help propel you towards your vision, towards your goal. That everyone in your wagon needs to have significance. They need to have bringing value. And that, or significant. So say, it's just gonna be like an analogy, right? So say like while you're sleeping, someone is, putting some kind of like softener into the rope so it's not so abrasive. Or you've got somebody who, maybe is a mechanic and knows how to grease the wheels so the wheels are a little bit easier and less resistant. Or, they know how to repair a rivet if it comes loose. You want to have those people who can come aid you on your journey. But when you're selecting like role models and significant people to have in your wagon, you need to be really careful in what their role is. So, say you have someone who's a really great businesswoman, but in their personal life, maybe they're not having a great time. It's a struggle. Maybe they don't have the best marriage or whatnot, and that's their each their own, right? But you need to make sure that you're identifying their role in your wagon is as a businesswoman. That's what their role model. That's what you're looking to them for, is how they are as a businesswoman, not how they are as a wife or as a spouse or as a partner. So just making sure you're really clear on that, because sometimes you give somebody that role and that's not what they're best suited for. Additionally, the role that you should show a commitment to providing direction to others. So, mastery in one area doesn't mean that you possess the energy that should be imitated. So you have access. I'm not going to move on to that, actually. So really want to move on to about getting rid of the dead weight, and because that's the hardest, and that's really the struggle. Is it's easy to find people and role models and to utilize their strengths and then to learn from them so that you can become better, but it's hard for us to get rid of the dead weight and to acknowledge that. A lot of times we want to make excuses, or a lot of times too they're like really close friends and family, but you can't share your dream and vision with someone who doesn't believe in it, or doesn't think it's going to work out, right? Those are the people that you can't have around yourself. Or you can't have the people who always, have like a woe is me, like life is happening to me. Because you don't need that in your life as well. You're trying to take charge and make change and create a lifestyle, or create a vision and goal for you. And life is not happening to you. You are making life happen in your life. You are creating. Things are happening because of your actions. You also can't have somebody who is self-serving, so that they're only around you because they want something from you, that they are not going to give of themselves in order to take. They just want to take. Those people are going to zap your energy. Same thing with like procrastinators, people who are just lazy. They don't really have the drive. They just want things to come to them. You gotta eliminate that, because that's just going to impede your journey, your success. You're going to end up doing double work, because you're going to end up doing what they had promised or had said that they were going to contribute, as well as all of your duties that you need to do. So you need to live your life surrounded by people who are like-minded, and we say that all the time, but again, it's just so key. And if you want to think about it like in your wagon, you need to have people who have your back and are supporting you with that vision and that dream, that goal, whatever it is you're trying to create. They need to believe in you along the way. And anybody who isn't bringing value, who isn't able to teach you something you didn't know, and who isn't, positive and uplifting, then those are people that you need to let go if they're not bringing anything like that. So as you meet new people, I'm always wary, and that's just how I am. I usually have like that resting bitch face, and it's just because I need to know, is it worth my energy to put out there to get to know you? Are you really genuine? Or do you have an ulterior motive? Are you trying to get something out of me? Are you trying to just angle to get to know me, to do something else, to get to somewhere else? Are you able to bring value in my life? Do you have do you have skills or just maybe knowledge that I don't have, that I want to know, that I need to know, that I need to be able to grow and learn as a person? And then of course, if it's a business, then do you have that monetary backing that could help support whatever my vision is? And if you do, then I'm willing to then open up, get to know you, use my energy, and share with you. But if you don't check any of those boxes, then I really don't have the time in my life for somebody who wants to be a freeloader or isn't going to bring value into my life. So it seems harsh, but it's really not, because you're just staying true and focused to your journey, to your path, and you cannot afford to have other people distract you or derail you or weigh down and make the journey harder than it needs to be. So I have a little bit of homework, a little call to action, and I want you to think about who has to go and how. So on a simple piece of paper, I just want you to name or write down some people who are currently in your inner circle who have to go completely, and not simply move to to another group, but that you have to actually remove them from your life. And maybe, it's just that you're not going to spend a ton of time with them, that you'll just see them when you have, when you have get-togethers or whatnot, but you're not really going to seek and put out forth the energy to continue a relationship with them. And then you need to think about, how are you going to make that transition with them individually, because each one is going to take some care and some sensitivity. And you're clearly not going to tell them, hey, you're a freeloader, I don't want you anymore in my life. But you do need to have some kind of compassion and just, that slow break. So hopefully that sort of helps you, that, you are your own man or woman pulling that rope, your own wagon, your own journey. And you've got to be really, really selective on who it is that you allow into that wagon to help you along the way.